Look at a busy playground, and you will often see a sharp divide. A group of kids running and playing seamlessly together, and a single child standing alone on the outside, watching them through the fence. People observing this solitary child usually draw a quick conclusion. Society assumes this child actively wants to be left alone, actively avoids interaction, or lacks the necessary empathy to join the group. This assumption is so deep-seated that it is written directly into medical diagnostics. This document outlines the clinical criteria for autism spectrum disorder, specifically highlighting a child who spends time in solitary activity or prefers solitary activity as exhibiting a deficit in social communication. For decades, both society and the medical community have looked at a child standing behind a physical and social barrier and diagnosed them as having zero desire for friendship. That diagnosis misses the reality of the autistic experience entirely. Autistic children deeply value meaningful connections and actively want to make friends. The barrier stopping them comes from the outside. Neurotypical friendship operates on a highly complex system of invisible, unwritten rules. The child on the edge of the playground wants to join in. They are simply trying to participate in a game where everyone else seems to have been born with the instruction manual. To engage in what looks like a normal interaction, an autistic child must run constant background calculations. They manually determine how long to hold eye contact, decipher slight shifts in tone of voice, and evaluate whether a comment was literal or sarcastic. Entering a group or making small talk are highly layered systems. They are full of traps regarding which topics are off limits and exactly how much detail is polite to share. Sociologists refer to this dynamic as the double empathy problem. Communication is a shared responsibility. Neurotypical peers frequently fail to read autistic social cues, misinterpreting blunt honesty as rudeness, or misreading unique body language as disinterest. The misunderstanding goes both ways, yet society almost exclusively blames and isolates the autistic child when a connection fails to form. Because the autistic child is assigned the blame, the traditional medical and educational response is to try to fix them. This usually takes the form of social skills training or applied behavioral analysis. This toolkit from the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network explains how these therapies operate. They teach autistic children to hide natural traits, a process called masking. The text highlights the human cost. Chronic masking requires massive effort, causing trauma, severe exhaustion, and profound autistic burnout. Neurodiversity affirming therapists point out that dictating exactly how a child must communicate through a system of rewards and punishments strips away their self-determination. They argue that training a human being to perform compliance in the same way one might train an animal is entirely dehumanizing. Drilling fake behaviors fails to teach an autistic child how to make friends. It only teaches them that their authentic self is unacceptable. If traditional social training causes harm, adults are left with a difficult question. How do we properly support an autistic child facing genuine loneliness and peer rejection? The answer requires a shift to neurodiversity affirming support. Instead of forcing one side to conform, this approach focuses on teaching perspective-taking and empathy to both autistic and non-autistic children equally. It requires practical changes to the environment to bridge the gap. That includes using visual schedules to help navigate routines predictably, and creating safe spaces where children can drop the mask and be themselves without fear of judgment. Effective support accommodates the child's environment. It does not demand the child exhaust themselves performing a fake version of normalcy. Autistic socializing is perfectly valid. It simply operates on a different wavelength. Often, it manifests as a deep, enthusiastic dive into special interests, where a bond is built over a shared passion rather than small talk. It frequently takes the form of parallel play. This is a highly fulfilling form of connection, where kids play happily beside each other, sharing a space and an experience without the need for constant verbal chatter. When we look back at the playground, the goal shouldn't be to force the isolated child to act exactly like the group inside. True inclusion demands more than memorizing unwritten rules. We have to tear down the barriers we've built, expand the definition of play, and allow autistic children freedom to connect as their authentic selves.